Have you ever kicked it with Diddy in Miami?
Yes, I kicked it with Diddy on Star Island for sure. Um, One time I kicked it with Diddy, and this one, you heard me, they was trying to bring me back on Bad Boy. He brought me to Star Island, and he let me see the house, and I'm walking through the house, and he went from showing me the house to me just it's so paused. It was so the house was so big, fuck, I just started walking around myself. Just I was amazed. When I'm when I'm walking, you heard me, I walk into this room. You heard me, I walk into this room and I've seen all types of what you call it, dominatrix looking shit. Dildos and sex toys and all types of weird shit. That was in my head. Like, to be honest with you, I didn't at this time I was green, yeah. So I wasn't thinking it was like Diddy's room. I thought it was more like Diddy be like bringing girls over and just doing all types of crazy shit. But knowing what I know now, that nigga's a fucking freak. Yeah, so yeah, I've been to his house in style and I seen dildos, sex toys, and all types of weird shit in there. Definitely. But it was I wasn't supposed to just be wandering around there anyway. So I'm not gonna blame that on Diddy. I'm gonna blame it on myself, you heard me? Cause I ain't belong just exploring around there, you dig? So what you see if you're not invited to walk in a place where ain't nobody asked you to walk into. But I definitely seen sex toys and all types of whips and dominatrix and baby Earl and all that type of shit. Definitely. 100%. Definitely. That that plagued my mind a little bit. That was one of the first things that I seen that kind of got me like red flag. Truthfully, you heard me, but yeah, I definitely seen that. 100%. Yeah,
Wow, and you thought it was a red flag when you seen all that.
I did. I thought it was a red flag because I seen dildos. You did when I seen dildos, like pause, big old big dicks and shit. I don't know, bro. Yeah, I thought it was a red flag, but I thought in my mind, I thought that it was just like a room where Diddy be like fucking holes at. I thought he was just like that much of a superstar, that much of a rock star that you can have a room towards you just do all types of crazy shit to women, and you get older, and then you find out that it was way more than what you thought it was. Diabolical.
Right, right. Yeah, that's
Freak.
crazy, man.
Definitely crazy. Facts though. All facts. Facts. And mind you, I didn't look at it at that point like, looking at Diddy like he's just this old UFO freakazoid. I just looked at it like he just got a room where he holes at. That makes sense?
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
But I didn't belong like walking around all them places because no one invited me to do all that. I just wanted to see it myself. And so when I seen it, I was like, oh, I'm not going to cap. I said, oh, and I walked in the room. You know what I mean? I just looked around. I was like, oh, this shit look crazy. And I walked out and went and mind my business. So yeah, that was my Star Island moment with him for sure. Never seen that room again, honestly. Never seen that room again. Big old facts.
Yeah, it's funny you say that because I remember Cameron said in the interview before that Mace he brought him over Puffy House and he seen a dildo in his sink.
For real? For real? I ain't heard of that one. Pause. Now you know I ain't lying. I'm keeping it real. I'm keeping it G. You heard me? I'm keeping it G. So that's what I seen. I seen dildos. Like girls be having like the little small dildos. Pause. Them bitches was huge. You dig? Them bitches was big as a motherfucker. Man, Dingos, you heard me? Yeah. Big old facts. Them motherfuckers was big. Oh, pause. Big facts though. You heard me? Facts, bro. Yeah. Red flag.
You personally, you think he was using them toys on females or he was indulging in it?
Heavens no. I definitely know Diddy was indulging with that. I just don't know who he was indulging in that with. You did? That's all I'm gonna say about it. I don't know. I don't think it was just females though. Knowing what I know now. It was definitely Diddy's thing. I tell you that. Yeah. Shout out to Diddy. Shout out to him. Knowing what I know now, yeah, Diddy was cutting up. He was definitely cutting up. He's a different type of brother. I'll tell you that. He's a different brother. Yeah.
I remember in the last interview we did, you was telling me how you went to some of the freakos. Was they offering you drugs?
It was a lot of drugs around. I mean, like going to the freak off. I remember, and mind you, people call it the freak offs. I just call it VIP parties. You dig? I think the freak off talk is just a bigger. They're trying to chump up a word to make Diddy look like a monster. From what I experienced, I wouldn't call it a freak off. I would just call it an elite VIP party. But one time, you heard me, drug wise on topic. One time I'm riding with him and the security and probably like two girls. You heard me. Um, and he whipped out a bag of powder and tooted that bitch up and like try to reach back and like pass the powder, pass it to me. And I looked at it. You know, I'm from the ghetto. You heard me. So I'm used to, you know, seeing junkies on drugs and you dig with that one drug song that you dig, and that traumatized me as a kid, you dig. So I always said to myself, you know, I won't ever do no drugs, especially no hard drugs, because I know the after effect of what that come with. But when he reached back and just was like, whoever wanted, and he was like, you want this chop? No, he called me city. He was like, you want this city? So I grabbed it, you dig, and I put my finger in it and I tasted it, and that tasted disgusting. So I was like, I would never put this in my nose. So I just passed it to the girls and they just started tooting up. And that was on our way going to one of the parties. Big old facts. So that was my only experience with Diddy with drugs, like firsthand. But besides that, you heard me, like in the parties, definitely just drugs everywhere, 100%. And it was up for grabs for anybody who wanted it. But that was my experience with Diddy with the drugs firsthand. Go on our way to one of those places. Yeah, facts. Did it. And mind you, I didn't really, you heard me, I didn't really like on making a band when we was doing a band and the cameras was on, you heard me. It was none of that. Diddy was very professional. You know, everything was just businessman, shrewd businessman. But when I signed the Bad Boy South and the cameras was off, then everything went like it was like lions in the jungle for sure. It was like apes and lions and tigers and bears. Oh my. That's when he just started letting himself go, letting himself loose. And that's when I realized it was two sides of Diddy. You have the entrepreneur Diddy, and then you have this animal. This, and I don't want to say animal as like this bad guy, but like this party animal towards like party like it's 1999 type guy. Like anything goes and you only got YOLO type guy. You dig? So you realize being around him is two sides to him, you know, and depending on if he's on business mode or if he's on party mode, it's the personality and characteristic that you get from him at that moment. So you just got to be on your game of knowing, you know, his Jekyll and Hyde. If that make any sense?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, big old facts though. That was my experience.